the relevance of our social structures and ideologies in society, very often we view governments, politicians, and corporations as the guiding organizational and catalytic institutions responsible for the quality of our lives. This, of course, is true, but only to a certain extent. As time has moved forward, human beings have become more and more aware of nature, its processes, and thus has been able to derive inference about how to imitate nature in all of its creative glory. The result has been technology, which is what separates us humans from the other species as far as functionality. We have the ability to create in very vast ways. If we don't want to clean sewers, we can devise a machine to do it for us. At the beginning of the industrial age, a great majority of people worked in factories. Today, automation comprises 90% of nearly all factories. This has displaced humans and created a large artificial service industry in order to keep human beings in employment for money. This pattern is very revealing. The implication is that machine automation is consistently challenging the role of general human labor. This doesn't mean that humans will have nothing to do as time moves on. Quite the contrary. This implication denotes the freeing of humanity from jobs in which humans don't care to engage in, so they will have the time to pursue what they choose to. As an aside, it is important to point out that society today assumes a very negative posture towards humanity, retaining the belief that if human beings were not required to do something, they would just sit around, be lazy, and do nothing. This is absurd propaganda. The notion of leisure is a monetary invention, created because the oppressive, fascist basis of the employment institution itself. Laziness is, in fact, a form of rejection of the system. It is a quality that only exists due to the oppression and required servitude. In a true society, there would be no such thing as a separation of work and leisure. For humans should be allowed to pursue whatever they feel is relevant. To put it in a different way, consider the curiosity and interest of a child. He or she doesn't even know what money is. Do they need to be motivated by money to go out and explore and create? No. They have a personal interest and they pursue it without reward. In fact, the greatest contributors to our society, such as Einstein, Newton, Galileo, pursued what they did without any regard to money. They did it because they wanted to. The act of doing and contributing was their reward. The point here is that money is not a true incentive for anything, and to think as such is to assume that humans are inherently lazy and corrupt. Laziness and corruption are the products of conditioning our social system creates. Now, coming back to technology, we find that our quality of life, as far as functionality, has been increased greatly by the benefits of technological tools we create. From a lawnmower to a pacemaker, technology saves lives and decreases the amount of time we need to spend on mundane, difficult, or dangerous activities. In fact, if one steps back far enough, it becomes very clear that technological development is the most important institution we have, and the pursuit of socially helpful technology, not weapons, should be the highest priority of the culture. At this time, technological development is brought about by a particular train of thought, or process. This could be called the scientific method. Carl Sagan was once quoted as saying something to the effect of, "Society welcomes the gifts of science, but rejects its methods." This is very true in the modern age, for what the public fails to understand is that science is not just a tool. It is a near universal functionality, which can be applied to society in ways many would not think about. It seems obvious that technology improves our lives and serves as the greatest liberator of human life in the material realm. So why aren't its methods applied to society as a whole? Obviously, the scientific method is used constantly for isolated systems, but it has never been truly considered in the broadest ways. This is largely due to age-old superstitions which battle the logic of science in favor of a dogmatic, outdated, and highly romanticized worldview. If we had the option to rebuild a society from scratch, how would we do it to make it the most efficient, sustainable, and humane society yet? This is our perspective. Obviously, we cannot build a society from scratch, but the point is clear. It is time to stop thinking about monetary concerns and limitations, and begin to think about the possibilities we have here on Earth in the broadest sense. It is this interest that has created the concept of a resource-based economy. The Venus Project has been working on this concept for a long time, and its foundation is very simple. We survey, preserve, and maximize our use of planetary resources, in conjunction with open information and technological development. In this view, little is left to subjective interpretation, for it is a scientifically derived strategy for social construction at its very core. From there, the scientific parameters work themselves out as far as possibilities.